Papa. Papa. You know Papa.
Are you happy with that, Daniel, Jack, Hannah, whoever your name is?
Yes.
Oh,
What's
God.
your name?
Can I just say, just before we even start, to the people watching, the thousands.
Are we recording?
Yeah, the amount of hassle involved in putting this together, like getting the frames, getting the sound, Hannah works against me. It's a lot of stress.
Why am I working against you?
So I would just say that to the people watching, I hope your interest in this podcast transposes into ticket sales, okay? Fuck you. Okay. Let's just jump straight into it, son.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to And That's Why We're Not Together, starring Hannah Andrews, David McSavage, with special guest star, Minister for the European Parliament, Barry Andrews.
Woo! And I'd also like to welcome my two princes, Jack and Daniel, and their cousin Con, who is off camera because... What? What are you doing there, Jack, with that sound effect? Christ. www.10minutstoolate.ie. Don't be slagging off your children, Hannah.
I'm really shocked.
Why are you shocked?
Because you're picking on people, and we have Con, Jack and Daniel cousin.
Yes.
And somehow...
Who you referred to as hot when he came in, which was weird.
I was
weird.
Admiring that he feels... that he doesn't feel weather. That it's cold outside.
Oh, I see. You're wearing because he's wearing shorts. Yeah, because
yeah.
Oh, so he must be quite warm-blooded.
Yes,
like most human beings.
Yeah, okay, but like we all dressed, and look at you.
Okay.
Layers of clothes.
Barry, finally,
and that's why
we're not together.
There we
Actually,
go. Should we can finish up? Thanks for tuning in today, folks.
So Barry, you're my brother. You were born on the May the 16th.
Correct.
1967.
Yes.
So and I was born 5th of February 1966.
So we're kind of Irish twins. In
yes. So is that right? Minister for the Member of European Parliament?
Member of the European Parliament.
No, member. Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yeah, I was a minister in the government.
What did you say, Jack?
Minister
for the European Parliament. No, I prefer minister. For
member. I think I can't remember.
Member. No, you said minister. And I was
I refuse to answer your question because
that's not a question. It's a statement.
It's a highly loaded question.
And I think minister's better.
You were minister for children, and you had a state car. And what I thought was quite cruel. Sorry. Was I'd be busking on the top of Grafton Street, and Barry would get his driver to drive near where I was playing,
wave at you?
And the window would come down, and he'd throw money at me.
Oh, how much?
That's actually a complete fantasy, of course.
How much?
How much did
pennies?
That's a very commercial asset. They want to look at this and
was it
worthwhile?
We business orientated.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
But that is obviously you're making that up. I remember there was one occasion when I was in the state car with a guy called Tony Boyle, who was a Garda.
How are you doing, Tony?
And David, I was on speakerphone, and so Tony was listening politely, and you said we were talking about something, the family, etc. And then he turned around and he said, "You said, are you in a state car, Barry?" And I said, "Yes."
Well, this is just after you got elected.
I know I was in it for a while, but anyway, you said, "Are you in the state car, Barry?" And I said, "Yes." You fucking bastard. Tony nearly crashed the car.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Shouldn't he actually be there but pretend that he doesn't listen and not remember anything what he heard?
Well, I mean, I was there, so that's how I was able to explain the story.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I can't test.
I'm talking about the Garda.
He was.
Is that what they?
Hannah, he just had a go at you there.
I know.
If I did that, you'd be all over me.
But
you're very polite.
No, sorry, Hannah. What I was.
Can you hear Barry in his microphone? I'm so sorry. I've got OCD. Sorry, Con. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry, Barry. Anyway, it's great. It's unusual. Yeah. I don't think you've ever been here to my house.
Not since I became the minister for the European Parliament.
It's below his standards.
Yeah. So me and Barry and Jack were at my godmother's, Barry's aunt, Auntie Mary, and she died a few days ago. And we were at the funeral. But it was very touching because this is my Mary Whelan. She was very good to me, Barry, when I was a kid, right? And you had your allies when you were a kid. You know, you certain. Well, what was that funny, Jack?
Well, you know.
Okay, listen.
Conflict.
Cornflakes.
Yeah, I sort of feel that it's like a war going on here.
No, I think we're settling a lot of.
I'm talking about life, Hannah. I'm talking. If you just give me a chance to, I'm not articulate.
Okay, this is like a buffer zone.
I was at a few. I was at
one line and
so
another.
she was nice to you. Carry on.
I was at we were at the funeral, and what was very touching about it was that it seemed like almost hundreds of people showed up, and. You know, being the sort of self-centered, sort of narcissistic type personality, I thought like, oh, Mary, my Auntie Mary, she was just really nice to me.
Yeah.
But it turns out she was really nice and had a lot of time for everyone.
Okay.
And she was also a music teacher. And just to see the amount of people from Virginia that paid respect to Mary Whelan, it was very touching. I mean, it went on, I don't know, for a half an hour, just cues.
No, I think she was very good to you. I mean, I don't think it was, you know, like she did, like the rest of us. We have 3 sisters, and because she was your godmother, she actually looked out for you 100%.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, very much so.
So she was.
And I think she felt sorry for you because you were kind of picked on by your parents because you were basically he was basically a moron when it comes to studying and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, listen, yeah. But anyway,
no, she definitely looked out for you.
But I mean, the fact, Con, that you don't do well in your leaving cert is no indication that you're going to be a failure in the real.
Look at your uncle, David.
Great timing, right there.
That you're going to be a failure in the real world. That was almost like the universe telling me to shut the F up. But you know, Con, like there's lots of paths you can walk on in this life.
Well, in fairness to David, now look, I mean, you were
you little Scot. That's what you remember when we were kids. You little fucker. Sorry.
But anyway, I was going to say something nice
about
you.
Hannah?
Is it too late? The moment has passed.
Sorry, Barry. Yeah, go
Carry
on.
Oh, really?
You're going to say something nice.
Well, I think that, like, you know, Dave, you were always the lead in the little, you know, the operas we had in the school and the musicals we had in the school. David was always the lead.
Father Dowling.
Yeah, what was it called? Maid of the Mountains.
Maid of the Mountains, and our grandfather came to it, Todd Andrews, and
No.
Sorry, just let me finish my point, because I think the point was that you know you are obviously a genius at your comedy.
Yeah, no,
I think he is.
Occasional moments, like all of us, Barry.
No, look, you're very talented at it. But what David was very good at.
Shut up, Con.
Was not examinable, and there was no other. Like nowadays, if people have capacity, you know, like creative skills, and there is a way to sort of make sure that there's an outlet for that. You know, in the secondary school. So you ended up just bashing against the walls and the ceilings and really having a hard time, I think.
Well, listen, you know,
and handing it out as much as you got.
I did. Yeah, no, I was a. You can sing the word, but you can't say. I was a. You can't say that word. Is it okay to say bad words in front of Con?
No, he didn't even listen to you. I think he was just like looking at some stuff.
It is a bit. How old is Con, by the way?
16.
He goes to Blackrock College as well, the college that we used to go to, me and Barry.
Oh yeah. So it's like it runs in the family tradition.
God, they hated me in that college.
They did.
They hated me in old Blackrock College.
In fact, I came in. I was a year behind you. So,
they were so shocked that you were well behaved.
Well, they always expected me to be like David, you know. But
and then
I wasn't.
What was the reaction?
So I set the bar so low.
Yeah,
for
they
Barry.
thought I was in a massive intellect, which I wasn't.
They said I set the bar so low for Barry that he just sort of sailed through his time in Blackrock College. But anyway,
somebody made a joke. I mean, it's a bit off color.
What's that?
That David was the only boy in the history of Catholic education to abuse the priests.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
I was the only child who managed to abuse the priests. But so just back to that funeral, right? But it is funny. There's a sort of mawkish thing that you know, when people come up to you, they see like this woman comes up to me. I'm just walking into the church where Mary Whelan is being buried. And then this woman sort of makes she comes up to me. You know that kind of, I remember you. Oh, here we go. You carried Mary Whelan's rings when she got married, 1970, and you were dressed in a red velvet suit.
That's so sweet.
No, but you know what I mean. You know, but you're walking in and you're thinking of Mary, and it's just this kind of, and it's almost like, I know you, but you don't know me, and it's like, it's quite creepy. And they're talking about being in a red velvet suit when I was 4 years of age, going up the aisle.
I actually find it so sweet.
Yeah, but you're Polish.
I think it's so touching because she brings you memory you don't remember, so you can actually.
And there was loads, and then in the afters, you know, people just coming up to you and they get close talkers. Like there's one guy standing there, and it's just his like balls are just in my fucking face when I'm trying to eat shite. You know, it's like, get the fuck away, mate. I mean, I mean, hello.
That was your dad.
But it's like, look, I know you. You don't know me.
That was your dad as well.
Anyway, nice one, Barry. Well done.
Sorry, stay out of it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that was quite a bomb.
Yeah.
Then he just dropped one.
Rolled the grenade.
Barry does have a better relationship with father than me, because of course you followed in Dad's footsteps. It's funny when you walk around with Dad, he still behaves like he's a full member of Parliament or the Dáil.
He does, yeah.
Well, I suppose he was a TD for 40.
He was a TD for 38 years, 37 years, something like that.
Oh yeah, so.
Sure, we'll call it 40, says you.
More like 37.
Yeah, 37. So he was a politician for a long time.
Yeah.
And how long has he been retired?
He's been retired for 21 years.
Yeah.
So it's great. I mean, it's great that he has. I mean, his brother Neil, our uncle Neil,
my godfather,
your godfather, he had only 2 years of retirement. He died in 2006 after retiring in 2004. So that was very tough, you know, that he didn't see grandchildren growing up and all that. You know?
Yeah, he was a really nice guy, Neil.
Had such a great post-work life, you know.
Yeah.
And Neil was a minister for the European Parliament as well.
He was actually, yeah. He was 20 years in the European Parliament, and I meet people in there who recognize the name.
Oh, who remember him?
Yeah, remember him. Yeah.
Didn't he work in RT at one point?
He did. He was a production guy in RT in the 70s.
Jesus, what must that have been like, RT in the 70s?
I think, and he was Uncle Neil was in America, and he was almost recruited for the Korean War. He got TB in the US. And he would have been drafted, but he
on what ground?
Well, he was living and working in the US, and there was a sort of a random draft.
Oh, I thought he did, because I heard that he was in the Korean War, that he was driving around a general, but this is obviously bullshit.
Oh, no, you could be right. I thought I just don't know. I can't remember the detail of it, but he had a great, interesting career, but short retirement.
So I just because I've been at funerals like in Dublin, and there's like two people in the back of the church, you know, like I guess like who would show up to your funeral, Hannah?
Well, that's what I was saying. I went to a funeral to my cousin, my cousin, who actually
Zibby,
who passed away
too early, committed suicide.
And like so many people showed up, and that's what I was thinking. If I passed, it would be like 3-4 people.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Not that many.
Hannah, people love you.
Yeah, but like
it would be a state funeral, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure.
But if you died, I'd kill myself immediately.
Oh, thank you. You don't need to.
After
do it.
A long.
Sorry, you don't need to do it. Really, that's a silly thing to do.
But yeah, Mary Whelan was very in the community, and then of course the 3 children grew up in Virginia, so there was a huge number of people. It was brilliant.
Yeah, she lived there all her life. Virginia, County Cavan.
But it shows
what do you think of that accent, the Cavan accent?
It's funny.
Why do they lisp in Cavan?
It's instantly you think about
and how would you know you had a lisp if you were from Cavan? That's a joke I do. Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you know you have a lisp if you're from Cavan? That's funny because
it is funny. It's almost the same like Spanish people. How would you know that they have a lisp? That's your joke anyway.
I can't wait for your 1 minute of stand-up.
I'm not doing
yes,
it
today.
Yes, you
fucking are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's my worst nightmare.
She does.
It is.
You doing 1 minute.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But she does it because she loves us, and she falls on the sword every time. No, but sometimes you do good.
When are you jump a little bit sometimes.
When are you doing your 1 minute of stand-up?
Oh, in about 20 minutes. So yes,
I might go for a break in 20 minutes.
So Barry, it's interesting. Like, so you became Minister for Children at one point. Was it? Were you? Was that a full ministry?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a junior ministry.
Oh, right.
But I was in the cabinet as a junior minister, so I was sitting at the top of the table in a. They used to say it was kind of the high chair.
The high chair, and you know, like what people wouldn't know about politics. Who's that guy from RTE who had this huge surge of popular support, and then he went in and he just couldn't hack the sort of backroom dealing. What was his name?
George Lee.
Yeah. And I think the feeling I got without knowing it was that he just kind of was shocked by the sort of cliques and networks that you kind of, because there's a lot of shouldering and moving around and being friends. Like in any business.
What happened to him is that he won a by-election. He won a massive vote at the by-election,
and he thought he could sail in.
Well, I mean, he had expertise in economics, and so the country was in a bad way, and we needed experts in the Dáil to help with the sort of whatever we're going to do to fix things. And then when he arrived into the Fine Gael Parliamentary Party, there was already a fella there who was their head of the finance area, which was Richard Bruton. And so there was no real way in for him, and he found himself being a backbencher.
Richard Bruton,
who has just announced that he's not going to run again. So George faced that situation, and he realised it wasn't going to be, him charging in on the.
What a fucking pussy! Sorry,
well, I couldn't possibly comment.
but I would suggest people do not look to how much. Affect? How much do politicians affect us?
Yeah, I mean, I was just at a school down in Leeson Street this morning called CUS, and they're having this European Youth Parliament, and they're asking me, what do you do? And I was talking about this issue. We were talking about before about fast fashion, and we're talking. Oh yeah, about,
sorry, I do want to talk.
Yeah,
that's kind of the main reason one of the main reasons you're here about. There's fast food, but there's also a thing called fast fashion.
Yeah.
Which is the same kind of idea, really. Sorry. Anyway, you were talking to talking about what effect politicians have.
I was explaining to them that last week, or as in a couple of days ago, we were in Strasbourg and we were discussing Israel. And as we do in the European Parliament, we had to pass a resolution that explained what the Parliament's position was.
Yeah.
And so there was a debate about the wording, and we were pulling and pushing about particular wording. So originally the wording was the EU Parliament supports Israel.
Right.
We changed that to the European Parliament supports the people of Israel.
Right.
And then it changed to the European Parliament supports the government and the people of Israel. So there was.
So it's so pointless, Barry.
Well, yeah, I know.
Barry, it is.
It is.
They have no. It's like people protesting, on the streets of O'Connell Street. But over here, who cares? It doesn't.
So subsequently, before I came in here, actually, I was talking to a guy in Gaza.
Oh yes.
This morning, and he is in Shati refugee camp. He's an Irish passport holder, and he spent 17 years. Yeah, he's Gazan originally.
Okay.
But he spent 17 years here. He's got 4 boys. They're all teenagers, close enough. And they're in the refugee camp. And I was explaining to him what we did in Strasbourg last week. And we were trying to change the European approach. The European approach, von der Leyen's approach, is all about support Israel, unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I was explaining to them that some MEPs were really pushing hard to try and balance that by trying to shed light on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. And it means something to these guys to know that people are listening, because they think the outside world thinks they're just, dispensable. And, 4,000 people have died. Like you and I grew up.
And they have a, right to feel like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guy was very upset on the phone this morning. But
of course he was upset, Barry, because you have children, I have children, Israelis have children, Palestinians have children. And the kind of overarching thing is, at some point, peace will break out. And probably one of the main motivating factors is because people start thinking of their kids. Do you want your kids to be growing up? It's so traumatizing, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's really desperate, irrespective of this or that. I mean, Christ, Barry.
But you're asking, do we make a difference? A lot of the time, it doesn't feel like we do, but sometimes it does. And I felt last week we were doing something worthwhile. And then in the fast fashion thing, yeah, I mean, there's a new law coming out about it. And
Barry, just 2 seconds. I don't know Europe, Brussels. I've been to. Anyway, do you know? I just want to park that. I was going to look up and do some research about fast fashion, and I thought in some ways my ignorance would work for me, in the sense that I'd say a lot of people, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody who's watching, but I'm saying you're ignorant. No, about fast fashion. I mean, I'll just quickly, like, one or two times I've gone to that place. What did
Pennies?
Primark.
Oh, Primark. Pennies.
And you buy a T-shirt, and you think a
Ireland.
T-shirt shouldn't be that cheap. And number two, it's really bad, and it sort of doesn't last very long. It's just very cheaply made. There's that thing. And then the other argument, I guess, would be, this is from a point of ignorance, is if you don't take this kind of fast fashion, then even though it's a really shit job in those countries, but at least they have a job, even though it is shit. What would you say to that?
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of things.
they're just being very badly treated. It's not. So for example, in
sorry, can you explain what is fast fashion?
So fast fashion is the idea that thousands of new products are launched on a daily basis on online platforms, and if they don't sell, you can return them, but they go to landfill. And fashion, if it is not controlled, it can end up. I think by 2050, it's predicted it'll account for 40% of all global CO2 emissions. I mean, 40% of global CO2 emissions. But that's by 2050 if it doesn't change.
Fast fashion, by the way, Barry, it's not. I'm thinking of Primark. Is this an actual online phenomenon?
Yeah, it's mostly online.
Okay,
it's mostly online.
So would young kids understand? Like, would they'd know about this?
Yeah, and it's the target audience.
What are the sites?
Isn't like Primark has
Primark
online shop as well? So how does differentiate from? Is it Primark as well in that fast fashion? bracket?
I mean, there's not. So there's a thing called the Index of Fashion Sustainability, and you can look up and see how each brand is doing in terms of human rights abuses and environmental damage. And the ones that are the absolute worst are the online platforms. The Primarks of this world, the H&Ms, the Zaras, they're not as bad. They would sort of come out with around a 50% score, whereas Shein and Temu would get a 5% score.
What are those?
So Shein is a Chinese online platform, and they produce, I think, 10,000 new products a day. And they will just produce maybe 100 to 150. They have massive algorithms and technology that would determine whether these products are doing well. If they do, they crowd them in.
Jesus, Barry. So it's like they want a particular thing to go viral. It's almost like videos. We just push and stuff. Okay, that, and then make tons of that.
Correct. Yeah. But because they've done 10,000 products a day, let's say new products are launched every day.
And so they would copy whatever the high street.
And they're copying high street, and they're copying individual fashion designers themselves, and they've spotted their own products suddenly appearing in Shein. So that let's say there's 9,000 products that are not successful.
Yeah.
Everybody has a right to return every product. So it all goes back to factories, and they just put them in landfill. So the damage that's doing is just unbelievable. Not only in the transport of all these products out, the transfer of all the products back.
Have you seen, where is this happening?
So Shein's supply chain, a lot of it is in China. There are other parts of the world, Southeast Asia, where the factories are. What kicked off a lot of interest in all this area is the famous Rana Plaza disaster in April of 2013. When over 1,000 people, mostly women, working in a garment factory called the Rana Plaza, and it collapsed.
Where was that?
And they were producing T-shirts and textiles for, Primark, Zara, H&M, and all these.
Where was that?
In Bangladesh.
Okay, Jesus.
So anyway, that kicked off as sort of an effort to try and fix all that situation, and we're kind of getting there at a European level. But I mean, it's just really sad what's happening, and there's also slave labour in that supply chain. So what brought it to a head in Ireland as a big issue is that the government sort of put out the red carpet for Shein to open their European headquarters here in Dublin. So they have about 30 employees in this office in Dublin. The Irish government put out the red carpet, and yet there's strong evidence that there's slave labor in their supply chain. It's really, really shocking.
Where slave labor, where would they be now? Are you talking about, how do you pronounce it?
Shein.
So that you open up a big factory. So when you say slave labor, they're not paying kids.
So what's happening is, just horrible. To give an example, so Shein will say that they carry out ethical trading audits. Right, yeah. They send people in to check to see that these factories are above board and not doing any damage. So, who does the ethical trading audit? They're actually let's say take a factory in China. You got a Chinese national to go in and check to see what's happening there. Do you really think a Chinese national can call out human rights abuses?
No. Yeah. Well,
and live a normal life in China? Under the Chinese Communist
Party. Well, also, yeah, so they're sort of auditing themselves. So it's not...
The audits just don't stand up. And just to prove it, I know it's a little bit...
No, Barry, I'll tell you, right, listen, I think... I don't think people... They're just there, they're bored, and they can see, I can get this shirt for... What is it? What price are we talking about? 10 or 5?
But I think it's more about educating people about the choices they can make.
Well, I don't think anyone, if they knew that people were working under really shit conditions, being taken advantage of, being paid fuck all, and also it's not just it's not a little joke or a little fad. But if they knew the background to where they're getting these clothes from, I don't think people would buy it.
But
it doesn't last very long. It's loaded
what about
clothing shouldn't be that cheap. Same way meat shouldn't be that cheap.
The only thing is who takes
same way flights. I don't want to fly Ryanair. It's too cheap. I don't trust them.
So Shein took in something like a revenue of $15 billion last year, and it's valued as a company as over $100 billion. It's valued at. So it's
they don't pay taxes here either because
they attracted to Ireland because of the low corporation tax. Let's be clear about it. So they'll probably book some of that tax in Ireland, even though they're not producing anything in Ireland. It's just the brand.
God, we're such suckers.
But look, I did an article in the Sun newspaper the other day, right? And the opening line was, what does fish fingers, T-shirts and your smartphone have in common? Now, the fish fingers is that there was a big study done. It took 4 years to do it in the Chinese distance fishing fleet. And there is absolutely, definitely evidence of slave labor in the Chinese distance fishing fleet. And they provide seafood into Lidl, Aldi, Tesco, Musgraves.
Barry, can I just
ask you, in our, we buy this stuff and it's actually in our supply chains.
Okay, I'll just hold the fish fingers thing. When you say slave labor, what the hell are we talking about? Like when I think of slaves, I think of like a horde of tribes going into a country and just grabbing people and just forcing them to work against their will.
I think a better way to describe it
is indentured
forced labor.
Oh, well, okay.
Now it's called forced labor or modern slavery today, but it's really just semantics. But what has happened is that the Xinjiang population, the Uyghur population in Xinjiang, have been transferred to the east coast of China, where they're working in seafood processing plants. North Koreans have been sent into the fishing fleet, where 90% of their income is directed into government bank accounts, and they're required to go there. Now, when the audit guy arrives in, and he's like, how does he audit the Chinese fishing
Barry,
fleet?
this is, look, honestly, we have to talk about this. Like, what would happen if those factories closed down? What would happen to those people?
These factories close down all the time, by the way. So they're replaced by new ones because this product didn't go well. So Shein doesn't own any factories. Shein simply buys from factories. It's constantly making differences.
And who's the head of this big? Who's the guy?
The Chinese guy set the company up in 2007. It was initially.
But I just think, isn't it in a way simple, just not allowing those products come to Ireland, Europe?
You hit the nail on the head there, because
it's the simplest thing.
But you see those big fat fuckers, they'll be going like, oh, come on in to Ireland, no problem, you can have a big office, and how much are you paying us? And there's all this little,
don't pay us anything.
No,
we don't want
but Hannah, you're right, exactly that. What we're working on at the moment in the European Parliament, we just had a vote last week actually, is there's a new forced labour ban. And what that means is that you can no longer place a product that has forced labour in its production on the European single market.
But
you can't
there's
do it.
Forced labor in this product.
Oh yeah,
right.
the cobalt. But
the
you
cobalt,
see that's so
really slavery.
yeah, but that's the point. So if you're getting
that's more child labor, it's more child labor. The cobalt thing.
Oh my god.
No, it's not. It's not the same as slave labor.
It is slave labor. It's women with children on their backs.
Okay, but
grabbing for cobalt with bare hands.
They are, yeah, but it's child labor. I mean, they're not. It's not the same as what's happening in Xinjiang. Is these populations are being transferred to the East Coast, and they're being forced into fishing fleets. But the child mining is absolutely illegal, and it's exactly the same problem.
My problem is, sorry for talking over you, Barry, but my problem is that's the point. You know, when I went to Primark and a T-shirt, and you're looking at it, €5. I've never seen a T-shirt that cheap. So T-shirts shouldn't be that cheap. I mean, and the only reason they are that cheap is because the people making them are being paid fuck all. So you're benefiting. So you're indirectly, anytime you buy a T-shirt or a wing wang fucking whatever, you're going like, fair play to you lads.
I have a question for you. So you know the way, like, as time has gone, like last, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years, a lot of production and factories in Western countries like the United States, UK, are like a lot of factories have closed down, and a lot of the production has gone to Asia, Southeast Asia. Would it be an idea to start, you know, kind of opening up more factories for people in the West to work in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because basically what's happened with globalization, it was kind of outsourced human rights abuses. So now the human rights abuse isn't in Europe, it's in the supply chain. And that's the problem. You know, whether it's your phone, the cobalt, the kids mining in Congo, if it's the fish products we have in we've outsourced all the human rights abuses and the environmental damage. So bringing factory, but let's also remember that that's not the majority. For the most part, globalization has lifted millions and millions of people out of poverty in Southeast Asia that are working where manufacturing has been outsourced as a result of globalization. So bringing this manufacturing back, I think we've moved into much more of a service economy, much more of a knowledge economy now in the European Union. So manufacturing is not really, I don't think it's realistic to bring back that basic manufacturing back to Europe. I think we do advanced manufacturing in Europe to do with semiconductors, to do with chips, to do with that kind of very high-tech pharmaceutical and computer. They're the kind of areas that we will be doing manufacturing. Not in Southeast Asia, and that's part of the whole pandemic problem with the supply chain. We've ended up showing that we had a lot of problems in that area
because Chinese are just outdoing everyone.
They are in basic manufacturing, but not advanced manufacturing. You know, like chips and these advanced.
What about semiconductors? Weren't they?
No, they're Taiwan and they're very much, Taiwan is the lead in chip manufacturing, and the European Union is very nervous about the massive amount of chip manufacturers that's in Taiwan, because China is always looking at Taiwan.
So is that? Do you think that's why essentially why China wants to be in Taiwan, is to have that chip manufacturing?
I think it's more than that. I think it's just a sense of the reunification of China. They consider it, and most countries have, they recognize that there is they call it a one China policy. So it's all the one, but there are two governments at the moment. So most governments won't have an embassy in Taiwan. Most governments won't have a Taiwanese embassy in their country. The only one that did was Lithuania, and they got heavily bullied.
Yeah, that's a weird one with Taiwan, like, because I've looked at it in the one China policy, where the US and China had an agreement that Taiwan would be part of China, but they would have no inflammatory, aggressive policies in reunifying that. But if you look at the votes, like 70 to 80% of Taiwanese people want independence. So like in that kind of global geopolitical situation, like what would be your kind of like do you listen to the people that they want independence, or do you listen to the big power that that's their intention is to reunify. Like,
I totally support Taiwan's independence 100%. And I've been to Taiwan, and but you have to be careful about it. You have to, China has, you don't want to inflame the situation, because if you end up with the West coming to the aid of Taiwan, Jesus, I mean, we're I don't think China just want to take the world over financially. They just want to beat the shit out of us. I don't think they have the kind of aggressive intent beyond,
and in a way they can I would say go for it, because we don't work as hard as they do, seemingly. Certainly I don't. So
the only thing, I just think that we should be sorting our own problem first. I mean, not letting those companies into Europe to our markets. Don't use us as the platform that they can flourish. Because if Europe would say, oh, there's a slavery in China and we want to sort them out. I think this is there's so many other problems around us that we trying to sort Chinese problem.
Okay, can I also say,
it's a little bit
can I just want to talk? I literally just want to talk now.
Right.
Okay, Barry, the thing is, right, you talk about really cheap manufacturing, people taking advantage of very vulnerable people, not paying them, absolute bastards, right? But then that's over there, so we can't see it. And then we get this lovely product, and it's so brilliant. And I'm talking about and I might have to edit this out, I'm talking about our phones. Like, is there cobalt in everyone's phone?
Yeah,
right. Hang on a second. But there is.
Electric vehicle.
And it's almost. And then you've seen these Vice documentaries of how they get. I don't know if that's how they get all the cobalt. Is that how they get all the cobalt?
No, but that's only a part.
And then
they call it artisan mining.
Right, yeah,
they call it artisan mining.
Oh my God!
When you think artisan, you think about making this sophisticated bag.
So Hannah, what I'm saying is, so people just have their mobile phones, their iPhone 14s, and just are hoping that the cobalt that's in the phone didn't come from there. But then the product itself is so enticing, it's so seductive. It's almost like I'm sorry, but it's almost like Michael Jackson. Yeah, he may have done that, but his music is so brilliant. I have to listen to it.
So I went into Primark and I said. Primark. I went into.
Can we talk about that cobalt thing?
Yeah, cobalt. But yeah. I mean, look. So there is actually a legal case being taken by the representatives of the children that have been killed and injured while carrying out cobalt mining. So as you say, it's artisanal cobalt mining. Basically, it's on the surface, essentially, very under the surface, very low depth, and so anybody can do it. To do cobalt mining, extremely valuable. And then it gets aggregated by local buyers. The local buyers feed it into the supply chain, and then it's not traceable.
Okay.
For Apple, Microsoft, for Dell. So there's a case being taken right now by an NGO on behalf of children who have been killed with landslides and various injuries while they're carrying out this mining.
But the
big problem is there's no point in this case being taken in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So the case has been taken in European courts. And the European court, the big companies will say, well, this is something that happened in the Democratic Republic of Congo. What are you doing suing us here in the Netherlands or the UK? And the most recent update I heard was that one of the UK courts accepted jurisdiction. In other words, you can hear this case here. We can proceed. And that's a big step. But we're also passing a new law in the European Parliament called the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. Very hard.
Jesus Christ, Barry. You see, that's part of the problem with the whole European.
This is almost like whitewashing.
No, but it's so diluted.
I think this is like whitewashing.
It's so diluted.
Break it down word for word.
No, don't. Just hang on a second.
So
just
we can
please
feel good about ourselves.
Hannah, okay.
There's a lot of whitewashing.
Hannah, all I want to say is I just want to stick with this cobalt. What percentage of the cobalt that we get?
So 60% of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I think it's even more. It's like 80%.
Okay, let's say
60%.
70%.
Hannah.
Okay,
it's more than half the world's cobalt.
Just let people finish each other's points.
Okay.
Because everyone's talking.
Con's totally tuned out, and you're right. He's reflective of the audience watching this. They'll be just bored out of their minds.
Yes.
Anyway,
No, that's
But if you're bored, fuck you actually.
Well, no,
because you shouldn't be. Look, but sorry, go on, Barry.
Sorry, the point I'm going to make is that Jack said, what is it actually called? It's called corporate sustainability.
Oh no. Go on.
yeah, that's good.
You asked.
No.
I'm shaking my head at him.
No. Sorry.
I haven't got to the end.
Because
Okay,
it's not that complicated if you just take it word for word.
It's called CS3D for short, but it's Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. Due diligence is when you check your supply
Barry, we
chain.
know what due diligence means.
But the point is, because it's so boring, as you say, and Con isn't paying attention, and lots of people will switch off. But that's why I'm pursuing the fast fashion thing, because people understand that, and it's my way in to explain the laws that we're trying to make. And the cobalt in your phone, people understand that.
Yeah.
The fish fingers, the fish goujons, they come from it. People understand that, and then they begin to say, well, what are we going to do about it?
But
and then
why
I
am
can
I-
say CS3D, it's actually about how we're forcing large companies to x-ray their supply chain to make sure this stuff isn't in there.
You don't think this is going to work, Mary or Sinead or whatever your name is?
Hannah.
Listen, hey Hannah,
No,
look,
I
I just
think
want to
it's
get on to
good
stay with the
because up
cobalt
till-
thing. I want to find out how
because
much,
up
what
till
percentage of the
now,
cobalt. I'm going to
let's
keep
say-
on talking
yeah.
because I know I'm on
60%.
60% of the cobalt that we get is from the but is it from
It
those
says
slaves?
the Democratic Republic of Congo
She won't let me finish
produces
this
an
sentence.
estimated 70%
And that's why we're not
of the
together.
70%.
world's
Agreed.
cobalt.
So you would expect...
I'm
because-
just asking
David,
how much a percentage of the cobalt is got from those, artisanal mines.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
from the artisanal mines, it's a very small
Like
amount
how-
of that.
what percent?
I'd say of the 70, about 5% of that.
okay. Can I? Well, that
Maybe less,
that gives
actually.
me that. In other words, so the phones that we use, a small percentage comes from these awful situations. So,
Yeah.
so there's big companies over there mining cobalt.
Yeah, they're not taking enough care to check their supply chains,
Oh, God.
in my opinion. And up to now, it's just been guidelines. Lads, do your best. Try to make sure that there isn't any of this. But now with this new law, for the first time ever, there is they can be subject to civil liability. So they can be sued. For the first time ever, they can be sued. There is now...
Who's they? I mean, whoever
big companies.
the big companies.
No,
Can be
like
sued.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Cobalt comes to every electric vehicle as well.
And another part of it is this, so if you have 70% of the world's cobalt, which is now absolutely the most important rare earth available, because we're all moving from fossil fuels into this whole renewables, you would think the Democratic Republic of Congo would be the new Saudi Arabia, because they have all of this. But
Because Chinese own.
it's all foreign
like-
owned. So we're doing exactly the same as we did with oil. We have this kind of, the curse associated with the
So
resources.
who
they have.
owns most of?
China.
Well, China does all the processing.
Because I read about interview with the guy. What's his name? Was guy Cedar Kara. He wrote the book Cobalt Red.
Is it as big a deal as oil? I mean, cobalt.
It is. Once again, it's kind of...
probably gonna
so
be even
Nigeria
bigger.
produces a huge amount of oil, but it buys petroleum, so it's processed somewhere else. And They
Right.
buy it back. So they end up...
Yes.
The money that they get from selling crude, they spend on getting back processed, petroleum, diesel. And,
See, this is what I mean.
Similarly, what's happening with DRC is they have all the raw materials, but they send it somewhere else to be processed.
But
so they don't get any value.
It's
So-
like
so,
a
but-
slavery in Africa.
but what I'm saying is,
they
Hannah, the
regain
Chinese come up-
independence.
Hannah.
Listen,
You're not going to put this
African
out, are you?
countries
No.
regain
Everyone's talking over
independence.
each other all the time. It's really
Yeah,
annoying.
because Hannah won't let me finish a
Oh,
sentence.
right.
No one's
Sorry.
intelligence is being questioned here, okay? Christ.
Look, listen. Yeah, but what's so like Chinese company, Irish, whatever it is, comes into
So they-
Democratic Republic of Congo and just
They
pays
own-
off
listen,
some guy,
they
but
own those
that deal should be,
companies.
It's
They
very-
own those mining companies.
folks.
Before it
There's no
became
way.
cobalt. No, because
Sorry,
I read,
I have a question.
Because
And you're
for,
so.
Cobalt-
Are you the minister here? No. So what?
because I
You're just like.
read
you-
what
Okay,
I don't even want your vote.
I have a question for Barry. So you were saying that 40%, by 2050, 40% of all emissions will come from the fast fashion CO2 emissions. So, how is the European Parliament going to deal with that affecting the environment? I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff going on with. By 2050, the Arctic Circle will have no ice in it. during the summer months. So
Yeah.
like, how is it gonna, or like, you know, stuff like permafrost areas and forests in Russia, they're being destroyed like by global warming. So like, how is the European Parliament going to affect all the...
Like before the pandemic and the invasion of Ukraine, the biggest policy thing was the Green Deal. So we're trying to get to, we're trying to reduce all our emissions to zero by 2050. And there's just an insane amount of legislation going through the European Parliament right now to try to tackle the climate challenge and to reduce carbon emissions as quickly as possible, to deal with all the points that you've just made. So it is happening, and 70% of the laws that affect here, Dublin, come from Brussels. A lot of the drama comes from the Dáil, but 70% of the laws come from Brussels. I mean, I'd love to know from you, Hannah, you know, the Polish election that happened. Can I ask you, do you think how's that been received among your friends and your family?
It was the biggest turnout for many years.
The
like
turnout.
75% actually voted.
And it was higher, like 85% in Warsaw.
How come, Hannah?
Because people are fed up with the government we used to have.
Was it? What's the particular issue?
They still won.
What's the issue that they're?
Oh, it's they're very corrupt. They promote their own policies, you know.
It's peace, right? Peace are kind of they're very anti-EU, and they're anti-Russia as well. A lot of people in Poland, when you talk to them, they have the feeling that peace wants totalitarian control of Poland. So that when I was talking,
who
to people,
wants?
The government, which is called peace, and I think who's the Prime Minister? Kaczynski.
Kaczynski is the
Kaczynski
is the president.
He's
Morawiecki is the prime minister.
Morawiecki.
Right.
Can I just say about the European Union and the MEP and all, or European Parliament? I don't know. It seems very bogged down in paperwork and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like those. It feels like you know that organization Drink Aware, and these alcohol manufacturers. And as long as you have Drink Aware, just be aware of the fact that you're drinking. Like these countries that are committing this stuff again, and ruining the fucking environment, they know it, but you can't really do anything about them because they're their own nation states. I mean, I don't know. It just feels that the European Parliament doesn't have teeth. Maybe America. I don't know. Does any organization who's trying to make the world more fucking sustainable for future generations, is there any? Because it seems to be people are motivated by greed and
very much so. And this new
I'm motivated.
New economy.
I wish I was motivated by greed.
It's also very
I have no money.
hysterical.
What?
The new green policies are a lot of time very hysterical, in the sense that it's very political. This new, green sort of policies that we have zero emissions, because it's not sustainable and actually influence ordinary people.
Do you find it frustrating, Barry?
Ordinary workers. Who their quality of life.
I get that. In fact, that's what happened with.
It doesn't influence MEPs or other.
Hannah,
there's
Hannah,
a really big
do you
disparity.
Are you
just let Barry answer?
I'm trying to.
Just
are you frustrated?
So I think Macron tried to bring in this very modest environmental levy in 2017, I think, and it created this Gilets jaunes backlash. People just went out on the streets, and they were called Gilets jaunes. They were in yellow vests. And they blocked, all the roundabouts, and they blocked the streets, and they protested, and it was a very modest environmental levy, So and people said, well, for us politicians, we're worried about the end of the world. For the people, they're worried about the end of the month.
Exactly.
So the concept of the just transition. Okay, we have to transition away from fossil fuels to a more sustainable, more renewable energy, which is all possible. But how can you do it in a fair way so that people they don't lose
you
their
take
jobs, they don't lose their
time.
industry.
You take time.
Absolutely.
It
So
does not
2050 is the target for zero emissions, and I think that's
don't
reasonable.
happen overnight. We had a policy fossil fuels for like hundreds of years, and now they demand from us to change it over 10 years. It's impossible.
Well, look, I don't know. I don't think
not-
anything is impossible. If you look at what happened in COVID, people were forced indoors, and
Yeah,
people
and
are
what
very easily
happened?
manipulated. We need a leader. We need a superhero, and who has control and just gets the job done. Barry.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for the appointment.
But it must all this carry on. It drives me. I lose the will to live. Like a few sentences into all this stuff, and I'm just like I'm just dizzy. I want to faint. But for you in the kind of front line of European Parliament, is it very frustrating? Like just even that's why I suppose people just try to pick one issue that they get.
Yeah. But it is frustrating, and it's trying to get people to get interested in something that is obscure, that is technical, that is remote, that won't actually be the law for a little while. I mean, I've been working on this CS3D for about 3 years now, and it's still not the law.
Yeah.
So I've been working on it for an awful long time, and
and this CS3D addresses fast fashion.
It forces larger companies to make sure they don't have human rights abuse in their supply chain.
And Barry, how are those big corporations? How are those big corporations pushing back against the work that you're doing?
They want only very, very large companies to be involved, not for small and medium enterprises to be involved. They don't want them put any regulatory burden on SMEs.
What are SMEs?
SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises.
Jesus, Barry, do these big corporations have all like teams of lawyers?
They do.
Like
they
how
have
many?
Lobbyists.
How big are we talking about?
Well, they spend millions in Brussels every year trying to influence
What about
legislation.
Wait, I just want forget it. No, not going down that one. Sorry, Hannah. So, are we talking about like a big business, like teams, like 20 lawyers or 30?
Yeah, they have huge teams. I mean,
so, and that's a lot of money. So it's worth it for them to pump and to stall people like you.
It is worth their efforts, and they can be successful because people don't want to see change. Essentially, there's two sets of lobbyists in Brussels. There's the NGOs, the liberal sort of people who want to see change, and there's the business lobby who want nothing to change.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what you're going to get when they come to see you. But I personally, I just get some information from both of them, make up my own mind.
It's funny though, Barry, as well, like fast food, you think, well, fast food, it's kind of fast fashion. It doesn't sound terribly bad, does it? Fast fashion. It's just like you see kids and they're bored and they've got no money,
but
and they get fat and they're just like, oh, fast fashion. But actually,
they're exactly the same thing. Like, how can you produce food that was caught in the sea off the coast of South America and buy it for as cheap as we can in fast food? We can't, without leaving somebody, damaged by the situation. And now I think we're going to be able to repair that to some extent.
Barry, we're just going to take a complete tangent, and we're just going to take a little pause. And thank you very much, by the way, for enlightening. No, we're going to have a little sort of light interlude, and it's called "And That's Why We're Not Laughing."
I'm not prepared.
He's never prepared. Put on your headphones. Okay, go on.
So, we all have kids, and I'm a kid, and, we all talking about fairness, and it's all good, but you never like all your kids the same. You love your kids the same, but you don't like them the same. And you know why? Because you didn't choose them. I mean, this one is arguing, this one you can have a good conversation, with this one you can go on holiday, but with this one you cannot do anything. I mean, for God's sake, what's the plan? I completely.
Wait. Where's the weather? So Hannah,
was it longer?
No.
But
okay, thank you, and that's why we're not laughing, Hannah. So you're saying, obviously you love kids the same.
I was only thinking about myself and my brother, it's just.
Your mother really favors your brother.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah,
he can do
she
no
does.
wrong.
And
I have to say, Hannah's brother Radek eats an apple. It's the weirdest fucking thing you've ever seen. I know, but he kind of go. He's like it's like a rat trying to get through a wall or something. Sorry, I don't mean your brother's a rat, but I'm just trying to say, like, it's very, very odd. And your mother looks on with such love.
Yes, and
unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Yeah,
and that's beautiful. But like, I think that's so true to a lot of families.
Yeah.
Because if it happens to me, I'm sure it happens everywhere.
Mm.
But
no.
But it's just a matter of situation or fact that like friends, you don't want to like everybody, and nobody likes you. You choose friends, and in family, you unfortunately you're stuck with them.
Yes.
That was the light interlude, was it?
But you love them. But that's the difference. You're stuck. You might not hang around with them, but you love them unconditionally and support them.
Do we have anything conspiracy corner, or do you not think it's appropriate, Jack? We don't. The whole fast fashion thing, or maybe you want to just comment on.
There is a conspiracy theory about the fast fashion.
Okay.
Where there have been, it's very far flung, but apparently some of the workers write like SOS. Writings on the tags, so where we'll say how to wash the fabric, so it'll say something like make sure to use cold water and help me put it in the dryer or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know what they'd say, but they'd have little cryptic like help me, in the tag of the fabric.
It sounds a very kind of Dickensian Victorian indentured servitude.
There's proof about that. I mean, it's not in fast fashion, but in the distant Chinese fishing fleet that they spend years at sea, and these other refill boats
spend years at sea.
Yeah, so refill boats come along and they give them fuel and they take away the catch. And the boat just keeps going on, and the people who are on the boat, they can't leave, absolutely can't leave. So during this 4-year investigation, they came up towards these big Chinese squid boats, and they got a plastic bottle with rice, and they put a little letter in the bottle, threw it onto the boat, and guys wrote answers to the questions. How long have you been at sea? 1.5 years.
Was it like
where are you from? Indonesia. Do you want me to say anything to your family? Write down your phone number. And they threw the bottle back with all this information. So I don't think that's a conspiracy. The New Yorker produced an article about it about 2 weeks ago. As I say, there's definitely.
So look. If people are curious enough, or if they have any kind of values, or if they're decent or whatever, they can look into this stuff themselves. But just Barry, what are the main kind of website things that we should avoid if we want to stop supporting these people who are making lots of money off the backs of other people?
I just read that, I just want to say something. Like I just read that Nike, let's say,
here we go.
Kids like Nike, they place really badly on that list of companies. Yeah. So who's gonna actually, you can say they are very expensive.
Okay.
So who bears the price of
where a Nike
shoes?
made? I don't know where a Nike made.
So
Barry, I guess
makes a lot of money, and how much do they pay?
So the one thing I will say about fast fashion, there is a lot of NGOs working in the space trying to help to clean it up. So the best thing you can do is to go on to the Fashion Sustainability Index.
There you go.
Fashion Sustainability Index, and they score every brand that you can think of. Oh, brilliant. According to human rights abuses, transparency of their finances, environmental damage. And as I mentioned, Shein would be very, very low score. And then you'll find all of the brands. And then you can make choices and you can decide which way to spend your money. Now, I know the people are really, it's a cost of living crisis here. You can't ignore that. And people don't have a huge amount of disposable.
Well, then they shouldn't fucking buy it then. They don't deserve to buy it until they figure out a way to make money.
That's an easy
David, just stop saying that. Because not everybody is, as privileged and went to school, grows up in family which is business orientated. there are a lot of people which,
Okay, fair
are
enough.
born in a different situation.
Okay,
I mean, those low-income families or people would rely on shops like Primark to buy their clothes, and like, they rely on those cheap prices to be able, to buy. So like, there's that aspect. Of it as well.
Can I just say what is the number like in the fashion sustainability index? There's a certain line that if you're above if you're above that, it's okay to buy from that company.
Well, I mean, that's a personal judgment, but let's say Shein would be at 5%. The best companies would be around 70-75%.
Okay, yeah.
So you're looking, I'd say
Jesus
50% is realistic.
But what about those big
5%.
houses whose clothes are made in China? Like, what about the big houses like Gucci?
Yeah, but okay, but I guess
China.
actually, can you look up Gucci Fashion Sustainability Index?
Okay.
This is good. Just we'll do it
live.
We'll do it live because and then we're going to go on to the thing. How long have we been broadcasting?
An hour.
But
Okay.
I'd just like to say about it is a part of a wider problem with forced work, because I heard something where there's more slavery or whatever you want to call it than when slavery was abolished in the United States now. I mean, I don't know how quantifiable that is, but
It is quantifiable.
but it's forced labor.
The International Labour Organization estimates that there's 27 million people working in forced labor at the moment globally. So if that's larger than the number that were in slavery after the American Civil War, maybe, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
And it's probably happens also like in the States as well.
Well, it's a lot of the migrant labor is labor under
sex
duress.
labor.
Human trafficking leading to slavery.
There's a lot of probably problems in South America,
Massively.
Asia, and China is actually clouded in sort of mystery because we don't know really what's happening there.
Gucci is the biggest mover in Transparency Index.
Transparency.
For the first time since Fashion Revolution's first annual index in 2017, Gucci is scoring at 80%.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but
and one of the only two.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
80 is the top mark. That's brilliant.
And then you got like Benetton, they'd be like 73. H&M would be like 71%.
So H&M is good value, right?
Right.
So, you can buy
H&M, good.
Yeah.
Love that, Barry.
No, I don't. I think H&M is
but then there's like quite a lot
the
that
quality
have
is
0%.
Who's at zero?
So you got Anta, Bell, Big Bazaar, Fashion Nova. They're an online one. I've seen them. Tom Ford.
Wow.
What's Tom Ford?
They're very well known. Savage times Fenty.
That's
That's Rihanna.
right.
That's Rihanna's brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Savage. So someone else.
So what is it, Barry?
We should have started with this.
Oh yeah, I know.
Explains
Listen. Anyway, we'll edit this. But what?
Yeah, we'll put this on the start.
No, go on. What is Savage times Fenty?
So that's Fenty. I'm pretty
what's
sure.
the score?
0%.
Jesus.
They've got 0%.
Rihanna's brand.
According to this.
Okay. Are you sure that's the right index? What is it called?
Well, I've got this on an article, but maybe I should look it up on the actual. Well, what's the index called?
Fashion Sustainability Index.
Okay.
And then okay.
But
But that sounds right.
Let's hope that it's true because let's say Tesla, they say all our sources are verified and there's no artisan cobalt in our cars.
Yeah, but it goes back to the point I made about auditing. Who's doing the auditing?
Yeah, exactly.
How reliable are the audits? How enforceable are they? And that's a big question, especially if China is in your supply chain or a corrupt country like DRC is in your supply chain, and business people have made deals with politicians in DRC.
Have you been there?
No, I've never been to DRC, but I'd love to go. I mean,
how long were you a teacher for, Barry?
I was 7 years teaching.
Okay.
I taught in Sutton Park and in Ballyfermot and in Bruce College.
And did you like it?
I loved it.
Did you?
I really did, yeah.
And then you went on to, did you
I studied law at night and I became a barrister.
And did you practice?
I practiced for about 5 or 6 years.
How did you find that?
Didn't like it. I was no good. I wasn't very good.
Because?
It didn't suit me. And I enjoyed parts of it.
Who likes? Who does it suit?
I think it's...
What is it about it that
more,
suits people?
More intellectual sort of horsepower than myself. Like
What does intellectual... What do
people who are able to absorb vast amounts of information.
Oh, Christ. You mean to pass those, it's ridiculous, is it?
Well, I got my exams.
Right, but I mean, are you saying what just they'd have to remember previous...
recall and that kind of... That's not my strength at all. Like... Sinead, my wife, is a barrister. She's very, very, very good barrister, but she can remember vast amounts of information.
Previous cases. So is that
she prepares cases. Her levels of concentration are
ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So anyway, it didn't really suit, but politics suited me, and I enjoyed that.
When did you first get elected?
To the council, I got elected in Blackrock Ward to the local authority in '99. So
right.
That's
24 years ago.
24 years ago, yeah. And then I got elected to Dáil in 2002 and became a minister in 2008.
What was that like when you first got elected? Going into the what was the kind of is it like first day at school kind of carry on?
I don't really remember.
Or you don't remember?
But I do remember being appointed a minister, which was really shocking because I didn't really expect to be. In the Parliament. I mean, I thought it was a joke because people do ring up their friends when the government has been formed. They say, Barry, could you come up to government buildings? And then it would be just a wind up. Yeah. And
what kind of people think that they're really funny?
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, as a comedian, professionally funny, and then meeting people, and they're just like, and you can see you're not funny, mate, and they're very offended. People think they're very funny. Yeah. Like even that thing, when people come up to you, look. Like at the funeral, look, I know you, but you don't know me, and people don't know how creepy they are. Look, sorry, Barry.
Okay. I just have a question.
Go on.
What was your time?
Have you looked that up? Have you looked that up?
That you achieved anything?
What is it?
No, did you feel that you made?
Jesus, talk about what? That's so misogynistic.
No, I misogynistic.
Because Barry's a woman.
Yeah, I know.
Bastard.
No, the free preschool year was a big deal. That brought in free universal childcare.
Not education. That was a big deal
for every child in the country.
No, it's amazing.
It was a big deal, and it was a really good thing that we did because we had no money to do anything very serious. But that was the only thing. I think it was definitely lasted the test of time. From my time there, anyway.
So that means that every kid
got 1 year free in a preschool. We've been paid for, isn't
by
it?
the state, yeah.
By the state.
Yeah, you get 3 hours. Now it's not quite childcare. We call it childcare and education because it's only 3 hours. So it doesn't. It's not a labour market intervention. Yeah. It is for the child to get. So every single child in the country in the age cohort got this, and at that time that was 2009, 2010. So those children that got it, or they were 3 years old at that stage, are now 16-year-olds. So when Con got his junior cert results this week, there were 70,000 of them. And I remember at that time there were 70,000 kids who got the free preschool year in 2010.
Right.
Why the same because there was a big the birth rate sort of ballooned up to the time of the crash.
Yeah.
And then it fell down again. So those children were born in 2007.
Funny that you use the word balloon. But listen, listen, you ungrateful bastards. The politicians do something for you, and you have taken advantage of that, Barry or Jack.
Just last. Well, I don't know if there's last thing on this, but I was looking.
Did you look at
the text in from one of our listeners?
Jerry from Springfield. But so I was looking, and it seems a big problem with fast fashion. Is the traceability and companies disclosing their information, because it's saying here that 99% of the companies, major fashion companies, don't reveal the living wage for their workers throughout the supply chain. And I actually my thesis last year was on blockchain technology in the food supply chain. So I was thinking maybe is there any thought of implementing blockchain technology? And what that is that it's a unchangeable algorithm software where you put information in and it has a unique identifier code and you can't change the information.
Referring in context in regards to...
A big problem with fast fashion and everything is that you cannot trace you cannot trace where the product comes from, how it's transported.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
if you had blockchain technology,
Very
which
good.
is unchangeable,
Yes.
cannot be tampered with, and obviously everyone on all steps of the supply chain would have to get involved with that. But
well, it's I think that's a Sorry, go on.
So the point is, it's back to the audit. So who carries out the audit? How can you prove it? What's the traceability? It's zero.
But that's
you can't.
That's
so
the
so
point.
so you're what this is very much part of the solution. People see is that you have blockchain technology, so it's an untamperable link back to where these products came from. Very difficult at artisanal mining with children in DRC. Obviously, very difficult with Chinese distance fishing fleet. They spend a year and a half out in the ocean, but it will definitely improve traceability and then give consumers the information that they need. But it does go down. It does improve the auditing then, which is the biggest issue.
And Barry, does the way you have this fashion sustainability index as regard clothing and clothing manufacturers? Does that also with food?
No. I don't know the answer to that question, but there's much more care taken in the traceability of food for obvious reasons because it impacts human health.
But fish fingers in particular. It's really horrible. The
bird's eye fish finger.
But the traceability is to do with the health of the food rather than the health of the people making it.
Okay, well,
I do my own statement. I boycott Nestle and Kellogg's. I do not buy.
That's right. I have to say that she does. Yeah, she's never.
I do not buy Nestle and Kellogg's.
Well, I don't know what the current state of Nestle and Kellogg's is at the moment, but I kind of just want to wrap things up a little bit and just say that, as listening to Barry talking and listening to all the work that's going on in the European Parliament, it's kind of down to you, the individual, really, because it's sort of supply and demand a little bit. And I don't know, it's hard to look to certain people. Do they have power? Moral guidance?
It's like it's like drugs, kind of. We all know where. Everyone in society knows that drugs are unregulated and they come from exploitation. But people are like, well, I want to have a good time. Well, so they kind of balance that moral decision with, well, I'm having a good time now. I don't want to think about that.
We should legalize drugs.
Okay, well, that's another thing. No, that's another thing. But that down to the individual, and I think also buying stuff is very impulsive. You're out. You're going to this shop and you see something and you want to get it immediately, and just the hassle of, okay, that's made by a manufacturer called Nude. There should be an app, fashion sustainability app. Yeah. Just type Nude in.
Yeah, but also you have to trust them if they give you the true information.
Who gives you the true information?
Sorry, all this, it's down here.
Barry, what were you saying?
There,
Sorry.
When I went to see Primark about this, they said to me, I said, if I go into your shop now, how do I know which stuff is more sustainable, which stuff is where it's from? How do I know that? And they say, well, if we put up stuff, people think that it's more expensive, that it's less quality, that it's for a charity. So every time...
Sorry, what do you mean, Barry?
In other words, if they put up a sign saying this is sustainably produced cotton, people automatically assume it's more expensive.
Yeah,
they think it's for a charity like Fair Trade or something, and they think, oh no, I can't. They get put off. So marketing hasn't caught up with this whole area at all. If you go into any of these shops, you will see very little information about how sustainable the textiles are, what they do to reuse, recycle. No information. You see, it's really people are put off when they go into a shop.
It's really interesting though, Hannah. Like if I go to like O'Malley's down in Shop Street in Galway, and this is an Aran cardigan, authentically knit by Mara Nichul.
And you want to buy it
because it's got a whole fucking history and it's a story, and I want it. And the idea of it's lovely to buy stuff that has an authenticity to it. But I'm just trying to say I'm going to look at my clothing now and put them all into Fashion Sustainability Index and see what.
I think you're doing really well in the sense because you're really buying in small shops. But I just have a question.
Because I have taste.
How did we go to a stage where we are supporting not small businesses and medium businesses and local ones? Why the policies are against those businesses and we supporting those big, huge chains?
Well, it's obvious, Hannah.
I'm talking to Barry because he is the one who makes policies.
Barry is
that's what
control.
we're trying to do that. And in fact, I'm the whole my campaign against fast fashion is supported by local producers and designers here in Ireland who can see their industry collapsing around them because of all these apps and the cheap stuff, and they're stealing the ideas and the designs from local designers. So this is what this campaign is about: is to try to
folks
to improve the environment,
Jesus
but also
Christ,
make
Barry.
a level playing field for local producers.
Barry, I am talking. Listen, no, but it's amazing as you just said. As you just said, Barry, stealing the ideas of actual fashion designers. So, like, if I go into a comedy club and I see some guy, some woman doing my joke, I go up to them. Mate, that's my fucking joke, and you're benefiting from my hard work. So there's that. So I'm just trying to say,
doesn't make as much money as fast fashion.
No, but I'm just trying to say.
It wasn't funny in the first place.
Okay, Jack. Yeah, genital clamps.
That was your brother. That was your brother. Get him into the headlock.
Hey. What I'm trying to say is that just try it. Like, go for it. You know, when you go into a store and you see something you like, just tap it into the index and see if it's sustainable, or see if it's somebody hasn't benefited from indentured slavery or servitude.
That's also one thing. The other thing is, what is it made of? You know, like,
and another
there are
thing.
3 fabrics.
And another thing.
I'm just telling people.
Jack, we're trying to have an interesting conversation.
Like polyester, nylon,
Hannah loves polyester.
Should never be on your skin.
Let's go, Daniel. Trivia about Nicolas Cage. Almost the end of the show.
All right.
That's all you have to do.
Con is fast asleep, and he should be, because it's a... Sorry, Con, I'm so sorry. But, this is called an uncomfortable situation for you, and it's good to embrace uncomfortability because it makes you appreciate what you have. Scott! That's how we were talking. That's how our dad talked to me when I was... David!
And how did he talk to Barry?
La, la, la.
He used to,
You little...
it's true.
Scott! You little... Scott! Sorry. Okay, what are we doing? We're going to edit all that stuff out.
The big D. Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. Trivia about Nicolas Cage. Nothing trivial about Nicolas Cage. Thank you very much. Jack.
I already did it.
Well, do it fucking again, mate.
That's all right.
I mean, don't you
don't
want
have to do it again.
Don't you want to graduate?
I
do. I like the and you want. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you doing it?
Well, yeah. Go on.
Oh Christ! Just do it.
I can't fast forward though, can I?
Okay.
God, come on! I'm going to put you on the fashion index, and you'll probably be 0%.
Yeah, good one.
So, this week in the Nicolas Cage news, he's shocks onlookers in Western Australia because he was stumbling down the street covered in blood and dirt while filming his new movie The Surfer. So there's pictures obviously of him looking very disheveled and
thank you.
You also that going.
And covered in blood, and most onlookers were shocked and fearing the worst, but
disappointed, I'd say.
But Hannah, Nicolas Cage was in costume.
I know.
And people thought it was real.
Mansplaining there. It's a bit of mansplaining.
I love mansplaining. I love it. I've got to start my own website.
You have to have your legs real wide open as well.
Mansplaining. What do you call those people who do gardening? Landscaping.
Do you like
manscaping?
Do you like Nicolas Cage, Barry?
No, I don't know.
Good.
Anything about it.
Singer, Nicolas Cage.
Actor.
Remember Birdie?
You don't know Nicolas Cage?
What's your favorite?
I know the name, but
what's your favorite film? One of your favorite. Do you have a favorite film? Mine is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I say Down by Law. I like that one.
Brilliant.
Down by Law.
Oh
Very
Christ,
good,
Barry!
yeah.
We didn't even touch it. Down by Law. Fantastic. John Lurie.
Tom
Waits.
Roberto
Benigni. Black and white. Barry, people would look at you and they'd think, he's a real square.
Yeah.
He doesn't like music, but you were kind of obsessed with, was it reggae first or was it heavy metal?
Could you just go back to that square thing?
No, I'm just saying in the suit. In the suit. I'm being facetious because you're in a suit. You're in a suit.
When I was in,
like you're a real square daddy-o. I wasn't.
Well, yeah. When I was in school, in fifth year, myself and a few friends, Neil Tubridy and
Neil Tubridy,
Gavin
who's now
Mick Kavanagh.
working as God in St. Vincent's Hospital.
He is, yeah. He and we all kind of got together and we did this magazine called Reggae Rhythm, and we just typed it out. And Mick Kavanagh used to draw lots of great pictures, and we sold it in Base X and Freebird Records in town. They used to sell.
For how much?
Oh, I think they were 50 pence. And the first edition, there was two editions. The first edition, we sold 35 copies of it.
Excellent.
And the second edition, we sold, I think, 10.
Oh.
And then we went out of business. But
But it was
Reggae
a good
rhythms.
start.
Yeah.
35 for kids.
Hannah, you were
with the
horribly supportive. You know, you have to be a bit more critical of people.
and
really? They are guests.
we did two
Yeah.
interviews with the Century Steel Band when they were in the SFX, and we did an interview with Aswad.
Jesus,
Aswad?
Barry.
We were in
what
fifth year.
was the famous song of Aswad?
Oh, jeez, I can't remember.
And then you were really into heavy metal as well.
No,
You were
before that, I was into heavy metal.
AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC, Deep Purple.
It's funny,
Rainbow.
AC/DC have really genuinely stood the test of time. They
Yeah.
are they're such a powerhouse, really simple Aussie rock.
What was your musical taste in those days?
ABBA. I was into ABBA when I was 13. And then by 17, I was kind of into Velvet Underground, Rolling Stones, and I started a band with Paul Dorley.
Yeah.
What about,
Called,
what was it called? What's a funny
it was
name?
called
About
the
Button? No.
the Pelvic Push
Pelvic
Buttons.
Oh, I thought it was Mark Skid
Mark Skid and the Shitheads. No, I don't know.
and the Y-fronts.
And the Y-fronts, no.
But you played in the basement.
Oh, we played in a place called the Underground in Dame
that's right,
Street,
yeah.
and I think Shark Bait or something they were kind of like a.
You were very good.
Yeah.
To see.
So
Dorley was good.
yeah.
Did you apparently take the mic and go into the street with the mic and started singing out into the street?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This
Who
is
said
not.
that?
We're talking about 1985.
Yeah. Okay.
Man.
All right.
But you loved. Did you ever see AC/DC back in the day?
No.
I saw Iron Maiden in Poland.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you were into Iron Maiden and all
No,
that
I wasn't
stuff.
into Iron Maiden.
I wasn't into it, but like we were going. There was a concert, and I had to go with friends. They really like heavy metal, so I didn't have a ticket. We didn't have a ticket. I remember it was an enormous queue, and we just pay at the door.
That's a great story, Hannah queuing. So listen, hey Barry, bit of. I'll never
I
forget
actually
that.
found that interesting.
I'll never forget the time
I wanted
we.
to hear the end of
No.
And you're saying you're not a square.
I know. I listened to the end of that. Some of us are interested.
So what do you do? Do you listen to music now or not?
Yeah, I listen to music. I really.
Why is that funny, Jack?
I haven't evolved my
do you watch
taste.
television?
I haven't.
Oh yeah,
evolved
it's
my
a really
taste.
boring question. Yeah. So do you play tennis or squash or badminton? How do you unwind?
Do you ever feel pressure when someone else is around and you have to play music? You know what I mean? Like
No.
Anyway,
No,
do
not
you
sure.
ever feel pressure? Like you have your songs.
A guest.
Yeah, you have you're in the car, you're playing some music. They say, "Oh, you put on some music," and you're thinking, "Oh shit."
Oh yeah,
I hope I don't put
we
on
were
some
on the
shit
way
music.
here, and I was trying to. Kate, my daughter, and Con were in the car, and I was saying, "Listen to this. This is this is going to be a campaign theme song for the election next year." So I stuck on the A Team. Yeah. Kate loved it, and so yeah, we're going for it. Con wasn't so impressed. So I'm still working.
Are you having a good time, Con? Yeah. Can you? I will take you out for minerals. Remember when we were kids? I hated minerals. Minerals.
What's that?
A minute is
it was just
Fanta or
like
7.
red lemonade.
Oh.
It was just like with radioactive substance and this stuff.
Mm,
Um,
very toxic.
so music wise,
But yeah, I know. Nowadays, I listened to Tom Waits a bit. I was listening to a song called Potter's Field this morning. You know, like the Down by Law thing. Yeah, I'm very much into.
it's funny. We kind of awaken to music at a certain age, and it's kind of hard to. We kind of stay there.
Yeah, I
somehow.
haven't evolved at all.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
No, like my tastes would be the same as when I was in my mid-20s.
Do you like jazz?
No.
Do you like? Ba-doom-doom-doo? Okay.
I love jazz.
Huh?
I love jazz.
And in terms of, what sort of jazz do you like?
Modern jazz or Dave Brubeck, old jazz.
Do you go to the shop to buy jazz CDs? And do you
No,
queue?
they don't sell CDs anymore.
Yes, they do in Poland.
I don't know. You stream everything.
And do you go to the gym? Because I just started going to the gym, Barry. I've got my own personal trainer. I've done six sessions. I've done 6 sessions with my trainer. And it's horrible. They put you on that cardio machine. You feel like puking.
No, I've started going to the gym as well.
Do you have a personal trainer?
No.
Like, there's no way I could do it without a personal trainer.
I think as you get older, you have to do a little bit of.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
PT.
Yeah, move more and eat less. Apparently.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
What are you doing? Okay. Well, listen, Barry. It is fascinating because people want to know what your gym habits are. Hannah, if I'm voting for someone.
Yes,
does he go to the gym?
Do you sweat a lot?
Do you sweat?
No.
Myself. Oh God, that's Prince. What's his name?
Prince Andrew.
God, what a douche.
Prince Andrew doesn't sweat.
Well, I've never been to a party. I'm an alien from another planet. What are you talking about, mate? You're up to your neck in it, you dirty bugger. Okay, is that it then? Okay.
He's a dirty liar.
Barry, genuinely, thank you very much for coming on. It's up to individuals to decide whether they want to have cheap clothing but made by people.
Well, I have to say thank you for having me on, and it has been I was disappointed it wasn't earlier really. But thank you for having me.
We'll have you.
Great.
We'll have you on, and thanks Con for being here. We can't have Con on camera because he doesn't want to be. He has a different plan for his life.
Actually, Con is doing BCR radio.
What is he doing?
He's doing BCR radio, so he's Blackrock College Radio.
Hi, this is Blackrock College Radio. So we have Father O'Sullivan on the show. Father, sit down. How are you doing? Well, I like music now. What's your favorite type of music? Dionne Warwick. Okay. Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, my Princess Jack and Daniel. Good luck. Stop fast fashion immediately.